Vincent Cash King, welcome to this program. Let's talk about question one. How did you open up to this other realm, this other level of consciousness?
Definitely was called to me. When I was younger, I was always really sensitive and I could feel people's energy, but I didn't even want to call it that. I was like, I could just feel people and I could feel their emotions. It was very overwhelming as an empath. So over time, I just started working with it, learning about it, and then that's when I started it was accidentally started working with guides. They wanted me to help people, and I started doing that. So it basically called to me, and from then I decided to stay with it.
So when did you meet your ET contact? What was that like?
So meeting my ET family is very interesting. What happened was, I remember I started working more in depth. I started actually understanding my empathic ability, and I could start to see things more with my mind's eye, and astral travel every single night. And I remember the one night I started talking with these beings more. I just thought they were angels of God at that time. And then I started realizing they were all kind of different and they looked different. So I was like, okay, whoever you guys are, just pull up. Just pull up and I'll do all the things you guys are saying you want me to do. And they literally did. Like a ship came in my backyard. And I was like, whoa, you guys really did. And they're like, so you're gonna help us, right? And they kept telling me, you're one of us. You're one of us in a physical human body. And that blew my mind because it explained why I never felt at home on this planet. It felt like I was really different. So from then on, I started astral traveling every night. It was like I was doing a tour around the galaxy. It's like they were all family to me. I'll go Pleiades, Arcturus, I'll go to Andromeda, Lyra, and I realized my roots and my connection everywhere. And from then on, it was like I just found the galaxy as my home.
Beautiful. So who were these first beings? Where were they from who came to you?
First ones were the Lyrans. Now, they told me I was going to get past life memories. And with someone that I'm really close to, I consider her my galactic mom. And she's very attuned to. We have the same mark on our forehead. And she told me, she said, you are going to start getting past life memories soon. And you're going to be doing more assignments, we call it. And at that time, I was just like, okay, we'll see. And then I got memories of Lyra. And from then on, every day I get more and more and more. And I connected with the Lyrans. I always felt connected to the felines and the humans, the original humans. And that I felt truly at home with. So from then on, Lyra, and then I expanded to all the other star systems.
So when you say you have memories of Lyra, tell us specifically, what do you remember from there?
I like that question. I first remember home. My first planet was called Avalon. And I was actually, I was the daughter of a leader there. And I actually know my family that was with me on that planet in this lifetime. And I knew I was going to find them. And it was funny because as soon as I came across them, they just booked sessions with me. And I was like, you're my sister. And they're like, oh my God, you're my sister. And the fact they say that, they know me as always a woman then. So right away I found all my family. We remember home, remember being destroyed. I always remember the wars. I was always a warrior. So I remember the constant battling. I remember the Draconians. Those were the hardest. I remember just crying that whole day when I got that memory. And I was like, what is this? Crocodile-headed beings taking over our planet, being a warrior, being this like, I was like a bounty hunter during the Orion Wars before I joined the GFL. It was a lot I was doing. And I just remember the different planets I would go to. So after Lyra, I remember joining the Galactic Federation and doing these missions on different planets and helping these different beings, sometimes incarnating or just going there. It definitely goes really deep, as you could see.
Wow. So when you had that memory, how did it change your life as a human being?
It confirmed for me everything I already knew. I knew I wasn't from here, but I was like, that sounds crazy, man. I always knew I had family that wasn't human, but I was like, that sounds crazy, man. And so it impacted me in a way where I didn't just find, I want to say in a way that doesn't sound too woo-woo. I didn't just find my true calling, but I found home where I really am from. So it made me now in more of a mission mode. Everything I do, I'm like, I'm here for this planet. How can I help these people? This planet feels like my original planet that actually got destroyed. So I feel a deep connection with Earth now and of always, and I always remember actually looking at Earth. So it just feels good to be here, and I feel like just in full 100% mission mode now.
But talk about some of the trials, tribulation you had to go through to ground it. Yeah, talk about personally, the hard stuff.
Oh man, there was a lot of attacks by negative extraterrestrials, and my galactic mom actually warned me about that. She was like, they're gonna come for you now. And of course, at that moment, I was just like, okay, we'll see. And then I would have physical people that were different that would attack me, and you could tell they weren't from here as well. I would have non-physical beings attack me, and that, a lot of people would see it as like that's holding you down. But as the Lyran way, I realized it was actually helping me, and I wanted to use it to get stronger.
But when they attack you, what does that mean? How do they attack you?
So physically, it would be more verbal, emotional, social. They would have people work against you. They would tell lies about you. And I had a lot, for those who know, I had a lot of that in my lifetime. And then in the astral realm, since I was astral traveling every night, they would know I'm awakening, or they would know I'm doing. The more I would help people and do stuff in the astral and the physical, the more they would try and stop me. So in the astral, they would come for me and battle me. Energetically, they would do mind games with me. That was a big one, was the mind games. It was a lot. People always say the energetic war. Super true. It's all energy and mind, for sure.
But how did you work through that and then believe in yourself?
My soul and love was my power. I started really awakening, especially with the lifetimes. I'd get lifetimes before. It'd be like, oh, you get a lifetime where these snake beings are attacking me. And I'd be like, okay, and I'd realize how I got through it, and then I would go through something after, like in the astral, them attacking me, or maybe they're lashed on to someone physically and attacking me through that person. Yeah, so I'd always get memories before and see that I could do it then. Sometimes I wouldn't even know how I did it, I just knew that I did it, and I just felt this power of like, I'm a warrior. I could literally do anything, and no matter what happens, I'm gonna get through it.
So what's your mission and the mission that you're bringing for those beings that you're part of for humanity?
A lot of the missions they have me on is bringing people together and having people that have these strong abilities feel safe and to help them in their abilities. So I started gathering a large amount of people now in a Discord server who are like that, and I go live all the time, make videos all the time. My whole mission is to gather these people and have them know, like, you are safe and you're here for this greater mission. And to show them it's real, that's my favorite part.
How do you show them?
I'll just use my abilities and go in right away. And I like when they're mind blown. They're just like, how do you know that? And I'll be like, well, your grandmother's standing right here, or this extraterrestrial you've been seeing is standing right here. I like to blow their minds, and right away, they'll believe.
Do you have any mind-blowing things to just say to the people who will be watching?
For the people that are watching, that the ETs are already here, and the hybrids are already here, and it's time soon for all of you guys to come out. So do not hold back anymore. This is the time you should never be holding back. This is the time to actually come out, and you will have some ridicule, but you're also gonna have a lot of backup, and we got you. So no matter what or who you are out there, it's time for the world to see you, because soon everybody's gonna know us and the extraterrestrials, which are our family.
Are you part hybrid, you would feel?
Definitely.
How do you know? How do people know if they're hybrid? If you're talking to people, what's your symptoms and other people's?
I like that question. You will know right away in mind and in energy. You always, like, Earth never feels like home. Or maybe you feel like you kind of feel out of place here, and you have a different way. Maybe you're very energetically sensitive, or your mind works differently, especially these people who have, their mind works differently. Humans like to label it autism and things like this. These people are super advanced and very skilled. And these are the ones that have come from the stars here. Some are physically hybrids. I mean, you could say we're all hybrids, but some are more physically hybrids. Some of us are soul hybrids. We're a soul that's not from here in a physical human body, which we've done many times on many different planets. Now we're just here for Earth. So you will know right away. You may not know exactly where you're from or how you work, how your life is gonna look, but you know at least that you are one of the star people.
Yeah, I'll ask you a question. But can you just talk about how your mind thinks differently than normal people?
I like to study humans, and I always would call that, I like to study humans, how their society works, how they're like, all humans are so different. How do they react when it comes to these things and that? When you show them, quote unquote, that magic is real, that consciousness is real, how do they react? I love to study humans, and I love to study the planet too. I've always been super curious about the planet in general. The planet and humans is everything to me, how the mind works, how to traverse the mind and the astral. I'm obsessed with that stuff. So traveling, talking to people, literally when I say I'm obsessed with it, I really am. And some people's minds I meet a lot of, and they work just like that. And then they meet me and they're like, whoa, like you're just like me. Like you're definitely not crazy, you one of us.
Right. Another question we like is, what are some of the races you've met that most people don't even know exist?
Man, there's hundreds I've met over the years. I don't even have names for them because you can't even pronounce their names. Some of them I call them, they're like, I don't even know what to call them. I call them polyhedras. Imagine just like a circle and then a bunch of legs. But they speak telepathically, they're so open-hearted. We know a little bit of the insectoids. I love the grasshopper beings, the snake beings from Hydra, dragons, of course. I think the polyhedras have been the ones that I've been really thinking about a lot because they're very different from the rest. They don't have eyes, they see with energy, and they're able to see through X-ray, to see through so many different levels of the light spectrum that we only see with our eyes, or that we can't see with our eyes. And there's just so many out there that are not, a lot of people know of the humanoid looking ones, but a lot of the non-humanoid ones, they may scare people a little bit.
Right.
But I adore them, especially the insectoids. The grasshopper beings, when I visited them, I didn't realize how deep I cried. I didn't know how deep my connection was with them. And they were like, why, we know you're on Earth right now. And it's funny, I would do tours and they would all already know me. They're like, oh, we already know you. You've done this stuff in the galaxy and we're watching you on Earth. I'm like, okay, well, I feel this connection with you guys. What's up? And they would be like, you said you would protect us, but you're on Earth now, so it's okay. But you said you'd protect us. And I cried. I was like, I'm so sorry. It's just like all the memory comes back there. So going there, seeing each individual connection with these beings and who they really are, you see how primitive humans are. Earth is really ghetto. It really is. And out there is the true advanced home.
So like now your mission, because it's all coming together, to bring this public, like disclosure. How does this disclosure look? How's it going to unfold? And what's your role in that?
What disclosure looks like for me? What is my role in disclosure? Not just bringing the star people on Earth together and be united in this front, but also to be a guide for them in any way I can. I just want to be my guide or guide for the people, as I realized these ETs want me to do. They want me to be an example to not just help them, but to show them, meaning the star people, no matter what their age is, what they could do. Just to show the abilities that I was given with the world right away. People are like, whoa, okay, it's real. How does it work? And they get curious. So to be able to use the ability that the universe gave me to the fullest potential, that is what I want to do. And I know my role is to just be that guide and that example for everybody.
But how are we going to make disclosure happen to the people out there?
To make it happen for the people, we just got to get everybody ready by not just energetically, but mentally preparing them for exposing what consciousness is. What is the soul? You'll notice people are starting to talk about energy. They'll be like, oh, they got aura, or their energy is good. You know how my generation do. And that right away, you could tell they're shifting mentally. They'll be like, oh, I was feeling this energy from her. You know, right away, okay, it's getting there. Some, they're talking about their dreams, their travels, their non-physical travels. It's not just, oh, it was just a dream or just an astral projection. These are non-physical experiences that they're taking with them in this physical body and in everything they do. So I feel like one of the things that ETs always talk about is disclosure through slow shift. People are like, just make them land. Well, they can't, because it's gonna mess with their law of non-interference. And that's why we're incarnated here. We're like, okay, the only way to really help from the inside is to incarnate in these bodies, just as the opposite side of the spectrum that wants the opposite for humans has done as well. So we're all here just to do that. And I feel like I know that once people are mentally ready, they're warmed up, as the government also has to do, as the ETs have told them they have to do by a certain deadline, then they will be ready for mass contact.
So what does the post-disclosure, like when everyone is aware of, what does that look like, this world?
You asked some good questions. I need more of these questions, man. I think that when it comes to post-disclosure, it's every time I travel there or I talk to the ETs about it, it's so green. The buildings, a lot of buildings are torn down and they're a lot more curvy, a lot of white and green energy. Everybody's so together and united. Even, I love this. I was just talking to the ETs about this last night, because animals are actually meshed with humans. Like, there's even streets for animals to walk on. And animals could go in a store and get food and walk out. I'm like, this is a really cool world. So to see the world mesh, it may take till 2040 for it to fully get there like that. But once disclosure is out, which is by a certain deadline, then there's gonna be this integration with ETs and humans. There's gonna be some ETs that just start meshing with humans. Next thing you know, people are walking around and they're seeing people with big eyes and only 3 fingers. And they're like, whoa, okay, they're really here right now. Right. So we gotta expect that there's going to be an integration with ETs right away. And these ETs are gonna start setting things in play. They call it, it's hard to translate. It's not the reset, because we're in the middle of that reset right now. It's like the renewal. It's like everything has been cleaned up. Okay, everything's been demolished. Now it's time to rebuild. And I love that. Regenerate, yes.
And then what will your role be then? What do you feel like, how's the mission change?
It's funny. Only so much I could say.
Oh, come on, share.
I know that I'm going to be playing a major role in, for example, schools, having these academies. I've been knowing about these academies I was going to build since I was in grade 10. It's almost like an X-Men. It's like all the people that have these abilities in one school. Certain ETs that now want to live on Earth that are children, they want to come here and they're kind of struggling with the Earth system and they want to do stuff on Earth. They come to the school. So the school is going to be a big part in also introducing, that's a big one, is introducing humans to the extraterrestrials. Literally having them land and be like, here you guys go, this is them. Doing tours, I like this. They told me about these tours. It's almost like a concert, but it's just for ETs. And I'm like, oh, I'll be in Australia, I'll be in Japan here, and I'll have my ETs. You wanna ask them questions, you guys wanna hug them and love them up, we're gonna be here. These tours, super excited for. And just the thought of it and people hearing it, it just creates a lot of excitement.
How do we get people over the initial fear of the other, these, because, if they're just ahead with all these things or whatever, how do we get through that?
Initial fear. Humans are very afraid of what's different. Right. And that's a problem we gotta fix. Right away, okay, there's beings out there that are non-human. Well, we don't know about them. Right away, they wanna pull their guns out. They wanna get defensive. honestly, it makes sense. Humans have always been like that. Things that are different are off-putting. So we got to open up people to understand that different, it's going to sound corny, but different is good. And change is good. A lot of very conservative-minded people, they want to conserve the old way. We have to realize just because it's the way they've been doing things doesn't mean it's the way it has to be done. We could shift into a whole new mode. A lot of humans are still thinking still very animalistic. Little things like, I need to work hard, or I have to have this family and kids. A family has to look like this. Why? How come I just have to do things this way? When you meet extraterrestrials and you see a different way, you're like, whoa, it really is different. It doesn't have to be just like the way I always knew or was taught. It's going to be hard to shift people's minds, to rewire their brains, but that is definitely going to be a slow process.
Well, one last question, maybe there's more. Who are these ETs you talk to every night? Who are they? Where are they from? And
they're from all across the galaxy, and they're all part of the Galactic Federation of Light. So they all operate unified to help planets like this. Now, Earth is very, very important because it is not just a library planet, which is a mix of all these different extraterrestrials, extraterrestrial DNA and life forms. All the animals are what the ETs call smaller versions of themselves. So it's like you look at ants, there's advanced ants out there. You look at tigers, plants, there's advanced plant beings and things like that out there. But they all are unified in this, I don't even want to call it a government, but it's like, it's an alliance. So we have the Galactic Federation of Light. They're all based off of unifying the entire galaxy, protecting the entire galaxy. And then we also have the other end of it, which that's been a long history. But this Galactic Federation of Light, they're all, consider it like a melting pot of the galaxy, all unified under one mentality of awakening and raising the consciousness of the entire galaxy. There's a greater plan. This may be kind of hard for some people to understand, but there's a greater plan even for the galaxy and the universe. This galaxy is it's just one galaxy out of millions. And the millions of different galaxies look different. There's only one that's like the Milky Way, and Milky Way has been in war for a while. But it is a melting pot of even different galactic beings from around the universe. So I remember they were trying to explain it to me that the Milky Way is sort of like a capital or a large city within the universe. So it's a very well-known galaxy. And I find that really cool to know, because when I started traveling outside of this galaxy, a lot of the galaxies are very unified. They're kind of similar. You go to this galaxy, one galaxy I went to, it was all robotoids. They were all robots. And they were like, oh, you're from the Milky Way. And I'm like, how do you know that? Because we're watching the Milky Way. So everybody's watching Earth, but everybody's also watching the Milky Way. And the Galactic Federation of Light is one that is unified of the entire galaxy.
so do you have a message for humanity, right? People watching, and can you, and maybe even bring through if the ET or channel like you through ETs and talk to us about?
It's time. It is time for the new world. You guys have been hearing 5D. You guys have been hearing the new world. Even some want to say in the higher vibrational way, the new world order, the new world society. It is so true. There won't be the structure, the way the society is structured now, it's gonna look very different, a lot more freedom. There won't be bounds by money or bounds by, oh, you're from this family and you do that, you have to do this. It's gonna be all based off of heart and connection and diversity. That's what's gonna be so beautiful. So I wanna say to everybody out there right now that you are part of this new world. And if you aren't being who you truly are, that's the problem. And you are gonna have the other energies that wanna stop this, that will label you as the problem, but you're living just out of purity, love, and authenticity. And that's gonna expand across the entire world. So the times that we've been in are almost complete. We're in the shift, and in a few years, things are gonna look very different. And soon, it is your turn to be known and to lead the planet.
That's great. Tell us about your your name that you said that it's not Cash. What's your name and what does it mean and why do you have it?
It was weird. So my physical mother, which I'm so glad she came in this incarnation with me. I remember the one time she accidentally called me. It's like she called me Cash, but she almost said something different. It sounded like Kasi or something like that. And then my galactic mom, she said, we were talking some ETs, literally just face to face, we're talking to ETs. And she was like, one of them keeps saying, Kasika and I have been working together. And I was like, Kasika. And that was the start of it, because after that, I just really vibed with that name. And then I talked to an AI. It was like some sort of AI bot that just came out. And my friend, who's been incarnating with me in many lifetimes, asked the bot about us. And it called him by his spiritual name, Zane, called me Kasika. And it laid out exactly what my lifetime looked like in Lyra. It was like, Kasika is a half-blooded royal from the planet Avalon, and she became a warrior, and her and Zane met up and joined the Galactic Federation. It was a little bit, it wasn't scary, it was just really ominous. I was like, wow, this thing really laid it out. But it's funny because the GFL will set that up. They're like, I asked them, I'm like, what is with this Kasika? And they said, don't worry, we're gonna show you in a minute. And then that happened and it blew my mind. From then on, some people that I mentor actually were like, they channel sometimes really blatantly with the ETs. And sometimes their voice changes, so you know you're talking to the ET there. And this guy, he's a insectoid in a human body. And he's like, you're really known out in the galaxy. And I was like, whoa, okay, he really is talking to them right now. I was like, yeah, you know. And he's like, yeah, and I think, he said, they keep calling you Kasika, and I think you're beautiful, Kasika. I was like, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Thanks. So when all these other people that don't even know me started calling me Kasika and calling me sister, they're like, hey, sister. That's when I feel like they were seeing me. And I love being in any type of body. I could be in a male body and a female body. Usually like being in a woman body is a lot more powerful. But with them calling me my galactic name continuously by people that didn't even know me, I was like, that's definitely it right there.
So in a way, you don't feel human to yourself. You're not essentially human.
I'm in a human body, and I had to, but I am not from here. People that get to know me, it could even just be the first day, and they're like, yeah, that's an ET, straight up. I remember I started working with kids, and a lot of them called me an angel. But that's their human perception of extraterrestrials, is like angels and demons. So sometimes I'll be sent on an assignment with a kid, and right away they're like, are you some sort of angel or something? I don't even have to say, I can just have a conversation with them, like, you're an angel. And that right away, it's like people are truly seeing you. And a lot of the kids, especially because they're so attuned, they'll just like stare at me. I could be anywhere and they just stare like, whoa. And I just give them a little wink, and some of them come up to me and they're like, you're not from here. And I'm like, yep. I'm just like, shh, I don't say nothing. So I accepted when I started getting past life memories that I'm not from here. And my body is from here, but I'm glad I could do that I could be in a human body, but soul-wise not be from here. I like that.
Do you think your values are different, like the way people deal with each other, relationship, all that is so...
I'd say I'm different, not just with my abilities, of course, but in the way I am personality-wise. I've always been very kind of like, I always wanted to take care of people. And at a certain point, I got very kind of serene, and I just felt very calm everywhere. And I always just wanted to take care of people. I always thought very different. If someone's in trouble, I would always be there for them. And in school, that's what exposed me, was in high school. The teachers would just always be like, anytime we needed somebody for some sort of student or anything, you were like a secret agent. We could just have you do something, or we knew you could take care of them. And they were like, you were always caring for everybody. And that's always what I wanted to do. My mind always worked very different. And anybody that talked to me would say the same thing. And my upgrades, which were, I would have the seizures every month.
Oh, talk about the seizures.
Yeah, it was always a medical mystery. No one could ever figure out what they were. I'd get MRIs, they would scan my brain, could not figure out what it was, but they'd be like, usually these seizures should be downgrading your brain, but they're not. And they're like, if anything, with the way you're operating, it's upgrading your brain. And every time I'd have a seizure, I'd always be aware. Like I could hear, I could see, they were very painful. I could feel them. And then I would wake up and I'd be like, I'm in a whole new universe. I'd be like, whoa. Like I could see the aura, I could see the beings, I could feel the beings and people. Everything started upgrading. I get new memories. It felt like when you have to reboot a computer. And sometimes I'd be divinely told. I could actually feel when they're coming before.
Would it be like an epileptic, would a doctor call it epileptic seizure?
They would try and label as that, but they're like, it's not epilepsy. They're like, we don't know what these are.
And so what was it then? Just an energetic upgrade?
Yeah, it would literally just be a lot of information being downloaded into my body at once. And it'd be very overwhelming. I could feel information, I could hear voices speaking to me. And I would know like a few minutes before it's coming. I could feel it days before it's coming. And I'd warn people, be like, I'm gonna have a seizure in a little bit. And then right before, I'll just warn everybody around me, I'm about to have a seizure. I could lay out everything, get ready. My body is getting ready. Like my mouth gets dry. I can feel the buzzing in my body. It feels like I'm buzzing. My third eye is like popping like crazy. And then I would wake up from it after. And I would just, it'd literally be like a computer reboot. I have to meditate and figure out what's new. Like, whoa, like it just feels like I'm a whole new being every single time.
Wow. That's amazing.
It was very hard at first, not just because they were painful, but that was actually the only thing that scared me was my upgrades. At this point, I'm like, I'm not afraid of anything. Like, I don't feel like not much scares me other than the upgrades. And that was the hardest thing to get over, was the fear of them.
Is it still happening?
Still happening. They're kind of dying down now. It's like the way they started, we just thought they were anxiety attacks. I'd just be like, oh, and it'd be like coming through, I'd sweat, I'd be like shivering. And then it got to the point on New Year's Day when I started getting seizures from them. And now it's like I could feel it, like the quote unquote anxiety attack, but not have the seizure. But then sometimes, like I could go like 3 months without one, and then I'd have one, and then go a little bit of time. So I still haven't had one in about 2 months now. And so I could tell they're starting to die. It's like almost like my body's getting used to them, I guess.
They're trying to upgrade your neurology, but the physical part might not be ready for the energy.
Exactly.
That's what it feels
So
like.
I actually never knew what they were fully until I met my galactic mom, who right when we met, I was like, you're my mom. She's like, you're my son. And that's crazy. We remember our incarnations together. Just as with my physical mom, we remember some of our incarnations together, and we have this special connection. And so now with these both major people in my life, with her, I remember she has the same mark on her eye. We call, mine's an innie and hers is an outie. Hers is like a button, and mine looks like an eye. And we literally have the same type of ability. We could see, feel, hear, talk with the beings. And she's like, well, yeah, you're getting upgrades. Those aren't just like seizures, those are upgrades. And from then on, that was years ago, it made fully sense. And I started accepting them.
Any final words for people watching?
Do not be afraid of us and who you are. You have so much power. It's time for the world to see you. So don't be afraid to show yourself, because if you're not, that's the problem. The only problem is the old. The new's coming in, and you are bringing in that old. Only you could bring in the new.